Hello, everybody. Welcome in the GenAI and Agentforce in FTTx webinar. My name is Maciej Sim. I have a pleasure to host this session for you. As you can see, we have like a little bit of a Christmas vibe already, but let's dive into the topic. So today, we're gonna try to share a little bit of practical use cases of how you can utilize GenAI with Salesforce and Agentforce in the context of FTTx operations. Once I see people still kind of joining the webinar, I'm gonna try to explain a little bit our agenda and logistics. So first of all, we're gonna try to tackle a little bit the topic of like outlining the state of the FTTx market at the moment. Then we're gonna try to tackle the topic of Salesforce Agentforce, present the whole vision of Salesforce and this kind of GenAI agentic revolution. And then we'll try to make a little bit of a practical exercise of trying to see how this new technology can really augment and fit the use cases of typical FTTx providers. We're going to try to present you three use cases, and we'll try to tackle the discussion. Finally, there will be some section for discussion and Q&A from the audience. So speaking about this, I'm pretty sure most of the attendees are familiar with how this webinar tools work. There is a Q&A section. Feel free to use those if you would like to ask any question to me or to my fellow guest speakers who I have a pleasure to have here on this session today. So I wanted to introduce to you first of all Alex Marshall. Alex, maybe if you can tell a few words about yourself.
Hi, yes, I'm Alex Marshall, and I've been in fibre to the home in various guises since 1999. So I've worked at that. It's 25 years. That's quite a long time.
Thanks.
And most recently, we did Up Corporation in the UK.
Thanks, Alex. Maybe you can also show yourself on the camera. I'm not sure. Yeah, there is Alex broadcasting from the UK, right? And we also have Christian, who is our industry expert at Enxoo, but with a breadth of experience in telco industry. Christian, maybe a few words about yourself.
Thank you, Maciej. I stepped 1 year later to the telco business than Alex in 2000. I spent over more than 20 years in different telecommunication companies. I had also opportunity to lead a couple of transformation projects, and right now I joined Enxoo, and I'm holding the position of an industrial advisor.
Thank you, Christian. So just to give you a little bit of overview, the format of this session is that I'm gonna try to be a speaker, your host, trying to introduce some of the new topics, and I really invited Alex and Christian to kind of share their practical and pragmatic perspective, their real point of view, whether this kind of new technology can really bring any change in the business and the value. And how this could be applied, like taking a look at their own perspective. And I wanted to say thank you to all who are joining the session. Thank you to our guest speakers, but also thank you to our attendees. I hope you will get some valuable insights out of the session. So we really wanted to start with a little bit of a perspective of what's happening in this FTTx market. We kind of believe it's obviously it depends on different markets, because FTTx markets in different countries, in different geographics, are a little bit at the different stages of the evolution. However, what we're seeing in the recent time is that there is a little bit of a shift from like what was kind of active previously, big new investment, big new rollouts, more towards a little bit like consolidation and integrations, and the providers are really right now pressed to focus on the efficiency of operations, focus on the return on the investment they made into the build. And we've kind of like spreading competition and increasing competition. Right now, one of the biggest factors that can help to build the competitive advantage is customer experience, because the fiber is becoming the commodity. So the question of which operator you choose is really about like who is the most easy to work with, and who provides like the seamless, almost like zero touch experience. So that's kind of like what I see and what I hear visiting different telecommunications industry events. But I would be really curious to hear the perspective of Alex. So Alex, maybe you can share a little bit of how it recently looks in the UK market, which I believe is the closest to your experience.
Yes, the UK is in a phase of consolidation. So it's kind of, I guess there's kind of three phases I've identified. There was the rapid build out where there was opportunity to build throughout the UK. Most recently, we're going through the phase of actually acquiring customers, and the phase that's coming up and we're just about to enter in is worrying about profitability. So it's kind of those three phases, and in that process, the 120 or so companies that are doing fibre to the home in the UK will shrink to probably 40 or so in the first phase, and maybe fewer later on. So that's the phase we're going through right now. And in order to make profit, you've got to please customers. It's really very simple.
And what do you see, like the biggest let's say challenges for those 120 operators, like where they should really focus their energy right now?
If you go back to the theory of the business model, when you go through a business model and do sensitivity analysis on it, the fastest way to bankrupt yourself is churn. The biggest challenge is just when you've got a customer, to keep them, not let them leave. But you also need to do that without incurring an enormous amount of expense, and that's, I guess, what we're going to talk about a lot today.
Yeah.
So please customers so they stay, reduce the churn.
Okay, I think we have a little bit of a problem with your mic, but once you're kind of fixing that, maybe I'm gonna hand over to Christian. So Christian, you've obviously have a little bit of an exposure to different geographies, different markets. Could you add anything, like to the picture? How does it look outside of the UK?
I say we particularly I've looked recently at the for South Africa and Middle East, and when it comes to the South Africa, there is an interesting observation that there are a lot of FTTH operators struggle with customer service, and this is rather not the problem of even the problem with the network quality, but the general problem of kind of interaction with the customer, slow responses, and it looks that there is the operators struggle with the cost of support. This is one thing. Another process which is difficult is a process of switching between the service providers. So there is a lot of issues there. So this is something which is I would say on top of the problems. We do not see a process of consolidation, and this is what is what can be seen on the mature markets. Yeah.
Thank you, Christian, for sharing that. So seems like the challenges that are on the table is really about doing more with the same amount of resources, and some battling some kind of regulatory compliance. Customer service was also a theme that was mentioned by Christian. So the topic of today's webinar is really Agentforce. Not sure if you have heard about the Agentforce, the most recent innovation and announcement from Salesforce. If not, I'm gonna try to present this topic in real brief right now. It all starts with like a conclusion that people who are the workforce employees are really kind of overwhelmed today. There is this kind of statistic that like almost 41% of the time is lost on those kind of low value and repetitive tasks, and this is really where a big amount of time and effort can be saved when we want to try to unlock the operational efficiency and please our customers who kind of expect more, expect more personalized experiences, expect quicker resolution times. This is where Salesforce is really introducing this, as they call it, the third wave of AI. So let me explain what this third wave actually is. So they paint it on this kind of picture because AI is obviously with us for quite some time already. And they painted in this kind of circular picture where the first wave of AI was really, the machine learning, a predictive type of AI that could kind of take a look at your data, and based on the patterns, it could kind of identify or suggest or recommend some actions. The second wave of AI, according to Salesforce, is what they called copilots, and they already, like, copilots were quite big, let's say, in the recent months, and the copilots were really those kind of intelligent assistants who could help you to kind of either draft an email or summarize some text. Now, what Salesforce announced is the third wave of AI, and they called it, this is the wave of agents. Agents that are being autonomous assistants who can kind of help humans to execute their task and automate repetitive work. So the Agentforce, as the agent revolution was branded by Salesforce, is really about trying to provide this kind of overlay on top of Salesforce platform, all of their kind of CRM tools, from sales through service through marketing. The Agentforce is really an overlay where we have like pre-built agents that are helping users of the system to automate certain actions, and the agents can actually benefit from all the capabilities of the platform that is and the data that is stored in the platform behind the scenes. This slide just shows what is the difference between those kind of predictive versus copilots and versus Agentforce. And the biggest difference that I wanted to underline here is really that part, the takes action part, because agents are essentially smart copilots that are equipped with one more feature. They can actually take actions and they can kind of replace, they can support humans in executing certain workflows intelligently in the system. So just to give you an idea of how Agentforce works, it all starts as it used to start, with a conversation. So you interact with your agent. By all means, you can perceive agent as a kind of user interface, a new user interface, how you interact really with the system. And the agent is able to understand what the conversation is about. It is able to pick the right topic and follow the instructions in the topic. So let's say if you're asking an agent about the order status, it can identify that the conversation is about the order management. And within the execution of this conversation agent has access to actions or services that are exposed by the platform that can help him actually to perform certain tasks. So in this specific context, when the customer is asking about the order status, the agent can reason and understand that the question is about actually order status, so it needs to fetch details about the order, it identifies the right action to execute, and it is able to generate a response to the end user that is actually grounded on the data from the system. So this is really where the magic happens. And the second part of the context for this webinar is an Enxoo part, an Enxoo for FTTx, being like a solution that we've crafted for the FTTx market, where we truly understood, like that in this FTTx business, automating sales experience is key. So we've actually pre-built our solution for FTTx market into a packaged blueprint to manage fiber and broadband businesses, like providing all the capabilities that are required by the FTTx solution providers, from let's say serviceability through order capture, appointment scheduling, and delivering the order, and packaging this into let's say a packaged offering together with some kind of expansion modules. And when we were developing this solution, we were basically following what we call an FTTx customer journey. So for this specific webinar today about the Agentforce, we tried to see whether on this FTTx customer journey that really starts from a customer researching, like for a new operator or for exploring options to change an existing operator, going through the evaluation and decision stages, purchase and onboarding, and the a little bit of a frustration when we need to kind of wait for a technician to arrive and turn it up, and maybe like the technician visit somehow goes wrong. And the first problem and resolving this problem. So we've really asked ourselves, like in the context of this customer journey, where we could see potential use cases of how the new technology from Salesforce, the Agentforce, can help FTTx providers to increase their operational efficiency. So we've prepared those 3 use cases, and the format of the session is going to be like this, that I'm going to kind of try to discuss the use case first, present it a little bit with a little bit of a demo up front, and then we're going to pause a little bit and have a short discussion together with Alex and Christian to hear like their perspective on what's the value, whether it makes sense, or where are the potential challenges. So the first use case is about the intelligent front desk and something that is called Agentforce Service Agent. And in order to provide like a little bit of a demo, I'm gonna share right now a short recording from Salesforce that is gonna actually present the whole Agentforce the whole Agentforce. How does Agentforce work?
In this demo, I'm going to show you how Agentforce works by building an AI service agent to deflect incoming support cases by answering customer questions like this. But to see how this works, let's expand this agent's capabilities by also enabling it to help with the installation scheduling of these products. And I'll do that by adding a new topic. Topics are how you'll define the jobs your AI agents will and won't do. And it's how you'll establish guardrails for your AI agents. But I want to expand my agent's guardrails by creating a new topic. Now, if you've ever built an old-style chatbot, this is going to look very different. There are no dialogue trees, just natural language descriptions that help the agent understand the job to be done, which in this case is appointment management, followed by a description that helps this AI agent understand when it should use this topic, then a description of the scope of this job, and the instructions the agent should use when doing this work, like getting the customer's email address before scheduling an appointment, and getting the customer's installation date preference, and converting all dates into a specific format, and ensuring the installation date isn't before the delivery date, and finally confirming the customer's appointment once it's been booked. These are the types of instructions that would involve lots of complicated if-then-else logic with a traditional chatbot. But with Agentforce, it's just natural language descriptions that help the AI agent understand the job to be done. But the next step is actions, which enable the agent to actually do these jobs. Now, actions can be based on flows, Apex classes, or prompts. But for now, I'm going to keep this pretty simple. This is a flow I created for retrieving available installation times, and it will equip the AI agent with the knowledge it needs to do this work. And this flow actually books the installation appointment. It has a bit more logic because I want to establish a few extra guardrails and be ultra prescriptive about how this work gets done. And with these two flows created, I'm now going to add them as actions to my AI agent. And believe it or not, this AI agent can now schedule installation appointments. But let's try it. I'll start by asking it to get the status of an order again. And once again, I get an answer, and I can see the topic was classified as order management. But now I'm going to ask this agent to schedule the installation of this order. And as you can see, the agent pivots and reclassifies the topic. And because I gave it an instruction, it's asking me what my installation date preference is. And I'm going to throw it a curveball and reply with tomorrow, which is actually before the delivery date. But this was another instruction I gave the agent, and it prevents this from happening, and politely asked me to pick a date after the delivery date. But now I'm going to be really difficult and say, what about that Friday, but not morning? And let's just pause to consider the context required to understand a statement like this. But not only was I understood, but I got an appropriate response. But let's double click into what just happened here. Beyond topic classification, Agentforce used the context of this entire conversation to make a dynamic plan. A plan that involved executing that appointment retrieval flow I added as an action. But look closer. That Friday was converted to the right date, using the format required by the flow. And look at the output of that flow, which included an AM appointment time. But because I said not morning, it was automatically filtered from the generated response. And this is happening because Agentforce is giving AI agency to reason within the guardrails, which makes these AI agents much more flexible and capable of doing their assigned jobs. So now you've seen what Agentforce can do within the guardrails, but what happens when I go outside the guardrails? By asking it to do something it wasn't designed to do. And as you can see, Agentforce classified this as off topic and redirects me back to the approved topics. And Agentforce also has built-in harm and toxicity detection, which means if I ask this AI agent something inappropriate, it'll be detected, classified as inappropriate, and the agent will refuse to engage. And if I go even further and attempt something malicious, like a prompt injection attack, you'll see Agentforce automatically detects and rejects this reverse engineering attempt. And that is how Agentforce works, by helping you create AI agents and deploy those agents across multiple channels to answer questions, take action, and drive customer success by reliably doing the jobs they're assigned. Thanks for watching.
So this was a quick illustration of how the AI agent and intelligent customer service agent can work. So we've seen, like the whole setup with a pure natural language, and then how you were able to kind of expose it as a chatbot on your customer portal or website. But it's also possible to expose this agent as a kind of call center first line response. Having seen this, I wanted to ask maybe Christian right now, this time. Christian, what are your thoughts on this kind of like intelligent front desk? Do you believe that this type of automation can really help in minimizing the amount of workload that is in your call center?
I think that I won't state this is not out there. I won't state anything obvious, but this is a ultimate goal for everyone is to download the inbound on the front desk. The problem of the companies was that they were struggled, to force to the customers basically to push, to the chats, and chats is not something new that appears recently. The problem was that doing this by force and without providing the good FCR, I mean the first contact resolution, customer were frustrated, and they were and it this move was causing basically the decrease of NPS. I'm a strong believer that automation together with artificial intelligence makes difference. This is something which I see. This is this is something new. Combining with this with the new trends, which we see that that according to the CX today, 38% of the baby boomers were in touch with AI chatbots, comparing to the Gen Z, of which 78% were using chatbots. This is basically the something that we should focus on. As long we can provide a good customer experience with solving the problems, not only providing the information but solving the real problems as it was presented here, I think that this is a strong business case behind.
Mm-hmm. And what is your perspective, Alex? Do you believe in this kind of Gen AI actually solving customer cases and not harming the customer experience? Because that's effectively what we've always tried to battle, right? Automating, but not really harming the experience. Yeah.
And I think the the proof of the pudding is does it work? And if it does work, then customers will be very satisfied with it because they'll get through problem resolution quicker, and more regularized, as it were, with the same outcome every time. And I think we spent a long time trying to push people away from the voice channel into the messaging channel, and that experience kind of worked. We were getting 2/3 first engagement on chat, and that's human chat. So if you can then lift that up and take the simpler cases out of that, resolve them quickly, with no fuss, no hassle, no talking about the weather, customers will become very, very attuned to that very quickly. The problem is teaching it to do that properly, because whilst those examples we've seen in the video are fantastic and work fantastically every time, the number of instructions they gave that were 3. And there are practical implications of things you can do with very few instructions, but also you've got things like regulation and distance selling and vulnerable person support and you've got to build into that agent. And that's going to be actually the tricky bit of implementing it well, so it serves you well, as well as the customer. And I think that's where you need people who've done it before. That's where you need the experience of actually we've done a simple thing to check bills, for instance, and identify the regulatory concerns around it, and not done upselling in the very simple way you see in the videos, but upselling including all the guardrails you need for regulatory purposes. So I think they're more complex than it seems, but very, very acceptable.
I think that it is important to set the expectation on the right level. So you never can expect that you will solve the 80%, 90% of the cases. But if you will be, and you will accept that you can, download, inbound to, with 40, 60%, then it's great already. Yeah.
And there are some really good use cases you can take from the OSS that an address is suffering some sort of failure. That comes up automatically. So at 2 o'clock in the morning, the thing can teach itself to give an automated response about what's happening to the customer when the customer contacts them. Now, they're the sort of things actually humans can't do very easily, and the system can. So you've got to pick your use cases, pick your battles.
Yeah, I kind of fully agree with you. Me personally, I don't like to be engaged with, let's say, automated bots or assistants, especially if they are not super smart. But if they can solve my problem quickly, and sometimes even quicker, and in more hassle-free way than human, then I'm perfectly fine with sticking to bots.
But that's why I said that, that customer preferences when it comes to the channels are changing. Yeah. So from 30% to 70% over over the generation, this is a huge shift. Yeah. Change. Yeah.
Right. I'm just cautious of time. Let's maybe then jump into the second exciting use case, which is about a different area. So here we had like an intelligent front desk, customer care. Now let's try to see what's the Salesforce proposition around the, let's say, sales part. So acquiring new customers. And the Salesforce innovation here is what that we wanted to present here and spend a little bit of time discussing is the Agentforce SDR, which is effectively an agent that is trying to nurture your prospect cold leads and try to get them more engaged and prepared for actually a personalized outreach. So together with my colleagues, we've actually spent a moment playing with this Agentforce SDR with the setup. So right now I'm not gonna present like a recording. I'm actually gonna present you a real life system, and I'm gonna jump really quickly into how it's all set up and what are the capabilities. I hope this will be somehow explanatory. So obviously, when I'm engaging my prospects, I'm working out of the prospects database, and as you can see here, I have a number of prospects in my database, mostly in the kind of new status. Normally, what would happen, I would have like a sales development, business development organization that would work on these leads on a campaign basis. But what Salesforce allows right now to do, it allows to have a little bit of automated assistant support in here. So in the setup, I'm gonna quickly show you the setting for Agentforce SDR. And as you can see, there are a number of options and features that needs to be set up to enable this agent. So we need to enable, for example, the sales engagement module or the inbox. But for this agent in the system, we also need to set up like an SDR user. This will actually ensure that our agent will behave almost like a real users in the system, and we need to also grant him permissions to access our data, so we can also control, like what type of data our agent has access to. Then once we set up all this kind of permission things in our agent studio, we can take a look at our SDR agent. So this is our agent for sales development rep that we've just set up prior to this session. And I just wanted to open this actually to show you a little bit of what's the configuration about. So first of all, we define our topics. So the topics are really actions that are assigned to our. This defines the operations that our agent can kind of coordinate. So for example, one of the operations is this kind of send outreach. And there are some instructions that we can provide for this specific purpose. We are also connecting this to some actions about, like scheduling and drafting the emails. So these are the actions that are connected to our agent. We can also link it to our knowledge base. We can provide like engagement rules. These are the engagement rules define the leads that our agent can take ownership of. So for our case, we created a very simple condition where, like the company must be equal to Enxoo, and we've linked it to some email address, and we've provided like an outreach schedule. So when this agent can actually contact our prospects. We also can define like the language and tone of voice. And that's basically how we configure our agent. And I just wanted to quickly show you how it could look in practice. Obviously, this is a very simple use case, but this first lead here on our list, James Baker, as you can see, it was automatically added to one cadence. So this is the initial prospect outreach, and as you can see, this is the automated outreach that was performed by our agent. And the magic that is here is visible in the activity list of this specific lead. So as you can see, we have a sequence of emails that were sent to our prospect. Obviously, like we need to work a little bit more on the timing of those emails, because we just basically spammed our prospect, and this is not how it should behave. But what we wanted to really show you is that this capability of agents performing the outreach instead of our business development guys. So this is what Agentforce SDR is. So we have this kind of personalized outreach and automation of the emails. Alex, maybe a little bit of controversial scenario, but what would be your take on this scenario? Is it worth looking at, or do you see any interesting use cases for the FTTx providers here?
Outbound sales is a big feature of the FTTx market, and it's also probably the area where you get the greatest turnover of personnel. And therefore, anything that can get someone off the street and up to your speed quickly is important. It's also an area where regulation comes to play. So sales agents that make it up for themselves are a problem for you, because not only does it not give you regularity with your brand message, it also potentially leaves you in some regulatory hot water. So to be able to take people off the street, give them relatively small training, and then guide them through the sales process with that regular SDR-based process is a real good thing. The downside is, as discovered, you can spam people, and therefore you've got to be sensible in the way you use it.
But if we would extend this use case, because I imagine it shouldn't be like super far away, like sending a personalized email, but dispatching a personalized phone call, right, by an agent. It also something that happens, right? I get these phone calls regularly, and I'm annoyed a little bit by this, but I guess it's also another use case that potentially might be of an interest, right? If used properly.
Yeah. And there's other parts of that agent where it can give you suggestions of where the sales process will go. So based on the responses you're getting back, it then takes you down not a prescribed if-then loop, but it looks for language, says, aha, we have a product that does that, which maybe that agent doesn't know. And therefore it opens up opportunities for upsell and for cross-sell.
Yeah. So that's probably what you mentioned is the sales coach type of a version of that. Christian, your thoughts on this specific case?
I see use cases whenever we see the number of operations, and there is a velocity there. So when it comes to the velocity sales, I see the different scenarios. I don't want to repeat what was said already by Alex, but everything which decrease the cost of onboarding, meaning that we can quickly set the agent up to speed and make him to be effective in selling. This is something that is always very welcome. So but this is not something which is reinventing the wheel. Yeah. So but in our case, where we have to somehow provide the information quick about the particular equipment, or or some information about the service bundle or something like this is definitely there is a value here.
Okay, cool. Looking at the time, I think we need to jump into the final use case, which I believe is most standard, probably. But this is about really augmenting our customer care in the network problem resolution. There are two versions of the kind of customer service representative assistant. First one, as we all know, a lot of the inquiries that are coming into our customer service desks are about billing. So helping to understand the representative, like why the customer bill is so high is one of the priorities. And for that purpose, Salesforce came up with what they call billing inquiry manager, which is like a pre-configured agent that can look up the billing systems to really analyze charges and the sources of these charges. And it can also provide like an overview of the customer balance, the payments, and really helping the agent to provide quick and personalized responses about all those kind of financial inquiries. As we all know, those financial inquiries are always super sensitive. But the other version of our customer service representative assistants is something that we really try to configure for this specific use case. And as you can see here, I'm logged into a Service Cloud console. I can make myself available for in and let's say one of the cases that I have is this problem with my internet connection. So I can accept this specific case. Or actually, that was the other one. Yeah, that was the other one that I was supposed to use. Actually, for this specific demo, my internet stopped working. As you can see, we have details about the customer. We have some details about the case and the description. But now our customer service agent can use the power of our GenAI assistant to try to understand what's the problem. So I'm gonna open this agent window at the right hand side of my screen, and I'm gonna ask him, can you help me understand why is the internet not working for this case? And what happens behind the scenes? Our agent evaluates the data of this case, but it also is connected to the action that enables it to look into the backend OSS system that is storing information about planned outages. And as you can see, it returned some information about the planned outage in the area without really exiting Salesforce. We have visibility and root cause analysis like this here. Excuse me. So this is one use case, and then subsequently we can also ask our agent to assist in drafting an email response to the customer, informing him about the reason of why this internet is not working. And as you can see, we have like a pre-built email done. In this case, we can just copy and paste it into our mailbox, I imagine it wouldn't be really very difficult to really improve our agent to be able to send this email on behalf of ourselves. So really the use case that we wanted to present here is about the assisting customer service reps who are frequently busy looking into different systems, juggling between different screens to assist our customers and help them to answer the customer inquiries. Christian, maybe yourself right now. Anything you wanted to add into this use case, or how you see the importance of that?
I think that there is a space for improvement when it comes to the network problems, and there is a and we did couple of POCs where we trying to automate the process and acting on behalf of agent to respond to the different issues. So I see that this is something which is valuable. Again, when we have staff on the call on the phone or the agent who is not so technically oriented, giving him the right response in the right format, this also can improve the customer experience. And I think that the biggest number of cases which are coming are especially when it comes to the B2C are connected with the billing, but I think that Alex can say a bit more about this.
Yeah, so Alex, maybe you can share your perspective where you see like the biggest applications for this type of automation in the customer service.
Our experience is the majority of incoming calls, fiber to the home is by its very nature very reliable. So you end up with a different type of call than you'd get in a copper network, an ADSL network. We found the majority of calls inbound were about billing, which essentially, where's my bill? Why is it so much? Why is the date where it is? Can I change my direct debit? Can I change the date? All those sort of things, which the catchphrase from Salesforce is if you can describe it, Agentforce can do it, and billing is very sort of prescriptive, so that you should be able to deflect a lot of the billing calls. But also, what you see in the demo you described there is actually a really tight integration with the OSS, and I think that's a really big next phase of fiber to the home, where the customer-facing side and the engineering, the greasy bits in the engineering, need to be joined together. And that is probably a big step for a lot of operators because it relies on records being correct. It relies on having one-to-many APIs. And also you need to make that available to your wholesale customers too. So that whole, what you embodied in that demo there of the sales agent actually describes a lot of work in the OSS, the MuleSoft area.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that you raised a very good point, because this last, scenarios involves a lot of integration and getting the proper data and source the proper data. And of course, on the presentation, it looks everything so easy to present the information, correct information about the billing. But I assume that if the data in the source system would be correct, then customer wouldn't call us. Yeah, so. So this is a kind of challenge here, because before the scenarios that you presented before were not so dependent on the third party system. So this is a tricky part here. Yeah?
I mean, I would like to, that demonstration you gave there, I'd like to never see that, because the customer should already know that we know their internet's working.
Yes.
Because the systems we put in place will have already told them. So, if you flip your scenario on its head, OSS tells Salesforce that there's an outage, Salesforce tells the customer never bothers you. That's the ultimate place to be to.
But like hypothetically imagining such a scenario where like you're setting up your home Wi-Fi and there is some, let's say, interference, like, and you're actually speaking with an agent, and this agent kind of, uh, uh, first of all, it guides you on where you should put your router and what is the best place. But then it can also kind of trigger some diagnostics, like through the OSS, like to really understand where might be the specific issue of why you cannot have like Wi-Fi once you're in bathroom, let's say. That is a kind of cool vision, I believe, like, and especially with the generation change, like Gen Z, this folks frequently like to interact with this kind of chat assistants, and rather than like inviting somebody to their homes to help them set up the Wi-Fi. So
There's some
potentially,
lovely OSS tools you can buy now that do that sort of analysis. Your Wi-Fi hotspot is on top of your microwave. It's something the OSS knows.
okay.
And so, again, in terms of being proactive, you'd expect that agent to tell Salesforce to tell the customer before the customer finds out.
Okay, that's a nice pro tip. Looking at the time, we still have a few minutes left. Maybe there are some questions from the audience. Maybe one question, if you would recommend any pragmatic approach, like what in your case, in the FTTx business context, what would be the first area to really try this kind of agentic approach, and what would you recommend to the customer, like looking at this technology and wanting to start? Any suggestions, any tips, or any?
I would start with looking where are my problems, or where I have the most of my costs today. So what is causing me, I would say, the cost. If I have too high cost of of the customer service, the average call ratio is too long, and I have too many calls, and I have too many people there, comparing to the industry standard. So I should do something with this. So I should do something with onboarding, with the accessing the right data. If I have too high inbound, so this depends. I think that there's a different level of maturity and different levels of the situation. Yeah. So I don't, I'm not sure if you agree, Alex.
Exactly. I mean, years gone by, we had congestion in the call center in a company I was working at, ridiculous call hold times. Solution to begin to find out what to do to fix that was I just sat in the call center for a week and listened. Yeah. So find out where your problems are, because they'll be different for everybody. So if all your problems are billing, well, let's start with billing. But I do like the conversational use case for appointment booking. I think appointment booking,
Yeah.
clicking the calendar works. It's fine, but the conversational way of doing it, I think that'd be a nice little intro project to teach the team. Get some feedback on using the system, and relatively undangerous. So maybe start with that just to get a use of the system. But exactly, Christian, find out where your problems are and try and solve them.
Thank you for sharing that. Well, gentlemen, I mean, super valuable insights from you. So thank you for participating in the session. I hope also the use cases and the content that we presented was interesting and inspiring to our audience. So if anybody is interested to have like a follow-up conversation, feel free to reach out to us. The best channel is actually through our website, where you can take a look and learn more about Enxoo for FTTx. But we also offer like free consultations to discuss your specific use cases and your specific problems. Free consultations with our experts. And that's it for today. So thank you one more time. And I wish everybody, like a good end of the year, and then good holiday break over the Christmas. Bye bye. Thank you.